So today I take you to the story of Agni and Swaha, and without wasting much time, let me straight away dive into the story. Imagine a beautiful forest, a forest with lush greenery, flowers, fruits, everything. But as you look deeper into the forest, you see a woman crouched in a corner and crying inconsolably. Who is that woman? Let me take you to a flashback and we'll slowly discover who is that woman. Let's take you to a person now, Agni. Agni is extremely happy because he is going to perform a yajna in the house of the Saptarishis. Now, who are these Saptarishis? Saptarishis are these 7 sages, 7 wise sages. And going over and performing a yajna at their house would mean power, prestige, recognition. And yes, Agni is invited. So with a spring in his step, Agni sets out toward the house of the Saptarishis. He stopped by Swaha. Swaha, the daughter of Daksha, the sister of Sati, and the woman who loves Agni. The woman, Swaha, loves Agni, yes. Agni doesn't love her back. Agni finds her restrictive. Agni finds her, Agni feels that Swaha is going to hold him back. So Agni doesn't really pay much attention to this woman who's crazy about him. Swaha tells him that don't go. And Agni says, why? And Swaha says, I don't know. I feel a fear inside me. And Agni says, what? About my life? And Swaha says, much more than that. Agni listens to her, dismisses her, goes, sets on his journey towards the Saptarishis. Agni goes to the Saptarishi Bhavan, the Saptarishi house, where the yajna is going to be performed. He's astounded by the beauty, by the pomp, by the show, and of course, the company of these 7 wise sages. The 7 wise sages, their wives, he's completely enamored by the whole atmosphere. So he performs the yajna with a lot of attention. He gets to learn a lot of things from these wise sages. And then the time comes when the yajna gets over. So when the yajna gets over, time has come when Agni has to leave that place. And Agni was feeling terribly empty inside. There was so much of activity that was happening around the yajna that suddenly it's not there, and he was just feeling extremely empty. The sages came to give him gifts. They gave him gifts, said bye to him. Those amazing Marichi, Agastya, Pulu, all Vashishta, all of these wise sages came to say bye to him. And then it was the turn of the wives of the sages to come and say bye to him. Sambhuti, Anashwa, Preeti, Shraddha, Ganti, Unnati, Arundhati. All of them come to say bye to him. Suddenly, Agni is struck by their beauty, by the beauty of these beautiful 7 pious women. He was suddenly filled with lust and desire for these 7 women, 7 wives of famous rishis. He knew he cannot do anything about it. So what does he do? He leaves that Saptarishi Bhavan and gets straight inside the forest, the Chaitra Rath Kanan. And he was roaming without any direction. He was just wandering about, frustrated, not knowing what to do. He didn't want to go home. He just wanted to hang around somewhere near. Swaha gets to know about this. She comes to Chaitra Kanan, that forest where Agni was wandering aimlessly. And from a corner, she sees that Agni is roaming around absolutely looking disheveled, frustrated, not knowing what to do. That night, when Agni was sitting under a tree, he suddenly sees one of the wives of the rishi come to him, Sambhuti. Agni is filled with desire for her. They spend the night together. The next night, another wife of another rishi comes to Agni. Agni's desire got fulfilled. Third night, Preeti comes. Fourth night, Shraddha comes. Fifth night, Ganti comes. Sixth night, Unnati comes. 6 wives of the rishis have spent each night with Agni. So for the last 6 days, every night Agni could fulfill his desire for the 6 wives of the rishis. And now it was the turn of Arundhati to come. But what happened? Arundhati wasn't coming yet. Agni was waiting for Arundhati and nowhere was Arundhati. Remember I told you that right in the beginning, in a forest, crouched, a woman was crying. Her body was racking with sobs. Look at her closely. She's dressed up like Arundhati. She's looking absolutely like Arundhati. But look deep into her eyes and then you realize, well, that's not Arundhati. That's Swaha. Every night, Swaha had taken the guise of one of the wives of the rishi and spent a night with the love of her life. For the last 6 nights, she has been doing this, taking the guise of Sambhuti, Anashwa, Unnati, Ganti, Preeti, Shraddha. She has taken on the guise of these women. And today, she was crying because she's finally realized that, she's actually being hurting all these women's reputation. She has been taking on their disguise, and in the process, what is she doing? She's hurting their reputation. She's making Agni believe that these pious women have spent their nights with him. So Swaha could not almost do that anymore. But her love was so much for Agni, and seeing Agni's pain was so unbearable for her that she somehow pulled herself and went to Agni in the guise of Arundhati, the last wife, the 7th wife of Vasishtha. And Agni excitedly tells Swaha, come Arundhati, that why are you so late? And Swaha looks at Agni, and Agni looks into her eyes and realizes, no, this is not Arundhati's eyes. The smile doesn't look like Arundhati's. Taking a closer look, he finally sees Swaha. And he says, what are you doing here? And she says, for the last 6 days, it has only been me. None of the wives have come to you. They have their dignity. None of them have come. I have come to you because I love you. And Agni says that you have done something terrible. Swaha said, I'm not afraid of punishment. Give me whatever punishment you want. And Agni says, I don't even know what to tell you because this is beyond forgiveness. And then Swaha says, punish me in whichever way you want, but give me one blessing. And she bends down to take Agni's blessing. And Agni says, what blessing? And she says, the child that I'm carrying, your child Agni, the child that I'm carrying in my womb, give me that blessing that I can protect my child from whatever harm this world, this universe might cause him. That I as a mother can protect him forever. Just when Swaha was asking for this blessing, something inside Agni churned. And Agni realized that he was feeling a very, very strong emotion for Swaha, which he's not felt before. And his heart was filled with love, his heart was filled with joy, and he looks down to tell Swaha that, be with me. But when he looks down, that's Swaha who had bent to take Agni's blessings. He can't find Swaha anymore. Swaha has absolutely disappeared into thin air. That Swaha who could not let the love of her life go, that Swaha who could not see the pain of her lover, has just let him go, has just disappeared. The whole forest was filled with one chant, Swaha, Swaha, Swaha. It was Agni who was crying for Swaha, and Swaha has let Agni go and disappeared, and all that Agni was left with was chants of Swaha. The first love story of Mahabharata.